So today is a concreting day. I've been busy preparing the ground. As you can see, I decided to lay 10 mil gravel everywhere. Well, I will be doing it everywhere anyway, especially these lower substrate. And over there, as you can see, there's a dip there. That's because there was a massive hole there. We had to dig out rubbish from there. Therefore, we filled most of that with soft earth. So we need to, although it's got some rocks and stones underneath that, but still not enough. This substrate is a bit of a strange one. It's a mixture of soil, compost, sand. So it's really amalgamation of different elements, and that's the reason why it's somewhat spongy in some parts, and in other parts it's firm. So for example here, right, so because of this I'm gonna have to gravel as much as I can, and thereafter I'll be using those slabs over here, purely because that will add much more stability and substance to that ground. Especially I'm expecting that to sink further few mil, like I said, because there's a massive hole underneath. So hopefully that will stabilize the ground a bit more over here, and that bit, as you can see, it's really low. So same thing what I've done there is just using gravel. Gravel is really good as acts as a natural drainer, and on top of that you've got the slab that's sitting on top there. The other thing that I did was I sprinkled water everywhere in the morning, and one that adds moisture to the ground. So when I'm concreting, although I will have a DPC, so it doesn't make it, actually it makes no difference. Just realize it makes no difference because I have a DPC going over it, or underneath it rather. Therefore moisture is insignificant in that sense. Moisture will matter when it comes to humidity and the sun itself, and the temperature. So anyway, the main reason why we decided to wet the ground is to enable the ground to bind, because you've got, obviously I've went around with a rake and exposed the ground, and in doing so you've created air pockets and so on. By wetting the ground, you enable it to bind together and shrink a little bit, and it naturally compacts itself somewhat. So what I'll do before I start DPC membrane laying, go around with my DIY compactor like so. Compact the ground a bit further, and then start concreting. So all my concrete stuff, sand, cement, gravel, all ready and good to go. Oh, I've also got metal mesh. I know, well, you know, iron's better when it comes to reinforcement, but I decided to go for this for some reason. I really need metal reinforcement here because of, like I said, the substrate itself is not the most stable substrate. However, I will deal with it. These metal mesh are quite good. I think what matters is how I lay them, because obviously you have strength, contraction and expansion and compression and so on. So it depends how I lay them. That'll make a bigger difference. Obviously iron would have been better, but do not underestimate these, because don't forget, a single string is weak on its own, but you thread a string into a net and then try to pull it apart. It has far superior pulling strength when it's combined. Likewise, steel, when it's combined like into a mesh like this, it has a far greater, strength. So from that perspective, it'll be fine. This is, a house, obviously. If it's a house, obviously I would go with the iron bars and iron reinforcements, but for what it is, this is more than fine. Yeah.